going on, everybody? I did not mean to hit that. But that was kind of hype, right? I accidentally hit a button on my soundboard. Sorry about that. That was perfect timing. Maybe I should do that more often. What's going on? How's everybody doing today? Title, good, bad? All right, looks like I got your attention. Not particularly good, let me say that much. And there's a big reason for that, and that's kind of what we'll get into in just a moment here. There is actually a pretty good reason for that statement. It's not clickbait or anything like that. So that is what we'll have to talk about here in just a sec. All right, let me see who we got so far. One moment. Let's see. Pull up the actual comments here. Where'd they go? Nope. One second, guys. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Got a little lost there for a second. All right, we're back. Let's see what we got going on. What's going on, Rick? And of course, hello, Sadu. Welcome. And nice first place you got there. I did see you. Good job. Good job. Some of my comments are getting hidden here. I have to unpin this real quick. All right. Subi says, oh, really? So there's apparently some bad news regarding potential regulations by the SEC. That's not good at all. I'll be honest. And that's kind of one thing I wanted to talk about as well, guys. We're getting to this awkward stage. We're getting to this really awkward stage here where we should be a little bit concerned about what the government's doing because at the end of the day, it can have an effect on cryptocurrency. And we'll talk about that. Let's see. Rick, what's going on? Subi says likely some sort of way to reclassify crypto, possibly ending all the hype train people and also taking out the good guys in the process. Yeah, that could be a big deal. That could be a really big deal. Let's see. Is this where the cool kids are at? Or is this where they sit? I think so. Yeah, up there in the first section. Absolutely. What's up, Dr. Dre? John, what's going on? I think Bitcoin will crash to 25,000 and that it will drag to 12. Ooh, drag Doge to 12. Okay. Doge Palooza. Yeah, what's going on, Chazman, dude? Adam, let's go. We need to know. Okay. Looks like a nice pullback to me. Still bullish. I'm doing good, Farsad. How are you doing? What's up, man? Bad market today. Very sideways. Compare Doge first pump in January and compare the pump now. You see we are close to explode. You can say that, but it's really not that simple. If we've learned one lesson, it's that the patterns of the past don't necessarily repeat again because just the way things go. Yeah. I just hit the like button. Hope you guys did too. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, just like Byron said, of course, click that like button and let's help this stream do well. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world does this title mean? Dogecoin and Bitcoin. We should talk now before it's too late. What is he talking about? I look at the thumbnail and there's this rocket crashing into the ground and, sounds like doom and gloom. Is he clickbaiting? No, not necessarily. What we talked about yesterday is what was likely going to happen right here. And let me just say, it is still a bit undecided. But the reason for everything I've been saying so far is there's something you need to be aware of. And it's a potentially negative pattern that's forming. And this is just strictly based off technical analysis. Now, from a better perspective, you see that we did kind of make a triple bottom here. This low was high, this low was a little bit lower, and this low was high and matched the first one. That's typically like an inverse situation that you like to see on a reversal, so that's nice. Shorter time frame, we kind of got the same thing. Consolidation here, then we made a lower low, came back up, recovered fully, consolidation here. So we've got two inverse situations, two signs of bullish desire from the price. My concern is this last little, not only save from potentially crashing, but then the move up was all from a hype event. And what we got from that event, we talked about this in depth yesterday. It was not that exciting, right? It just wasn't. And so my concern was, well, how far are we really going to go based off the very little, I mean, just small glimpse of hope is really all that Elon gave us yesterday. So are we really just going to reverse and take off and do something drastic based off little to no news? And that was my question. Sorry, the camera's up in the, aiming at the sky. Still. All right, there we go. All right. And so basically, now here's the situation we have, and here's what we talked about yesterday. As of yesterday, we were right about here, and there were a couple things that we talked about that could play out. Now, what we have, and this was the time frame that it's better to look at, is the 200 EMA line and the resistance line here from this descending triangle again. As we progress here, we're getting closer and closer. And as you can see, as we draw this line against probably like the highest consistent tops, except for this little peak out, this is where the resistance line is, and this is where we've been stuck under, and we're coming to a decision point. We actually don't have much longer, and at this rate, we have to have made a decision by, looks like, if we just draw this all the way out and make it hit the next line here, by about, let's just say August 22nd. So we don't have any more, even if we were to drag this out to the max, to the absolute max, going at 1 mile per hour, and just Bitcoin never makes a decision. A decision must be made by this point in time right here if we just follow the triangle out here. And according to the chart, this point here hits August 23rd. If you can see that on my screen, or I don't know if my webcam is blocking it, it might be, but that's what that date says right there, August 23rd. Now, we are right here at July 23rd, exactly 1 month before that. Do I think it's going to take that long? Obviously not, as we keep getting very close and entertaining the thought of going out one side or going out the other side, and we've done that a couple times here. So it usually doesn't get all the way like down into here to go up. If it did take that long, it's probably going to go down, because that's a sign of weakness. You know, why is it taking that long to bounce? Anyway, that's not really what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the scenario here. What we had yesterday was this situation. We were in a triangle right here. We kind of had this triangle formation going. However you want to draw it, it doesn't really matter. You could do it like that too if you really want, or you could do it like that against whatever tops you see. It doesn't matter. Overall, same idea. We were coming to a triangle consolidating here. And the question was, are we going to break out the top or out of the bottom? What reasons do we have to go up versus go down? Because we know this market right now is primarily emotionally driven. So what's the catalyst? What's the reason for us to break to the upside and continue? Very little reason from the event. What's the reason for us to continue down? Well, it looks like we wanted to still flush out, and we never got the opportunity to grab people at 25,000. So that's problem number one. What's going on, Matt? I was watching some of your stream 2 days ago, or yesterday actually. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that the news from the event just wasn't that great. So if anything, maybe it just wears off here and we just kind of continue our path, because it was really nothing new. Now, obviously we broke out the top side, so it showed that we wanted to be a little bit stronger than we let on. But what ended up happening was, instead of this just being a triangle formation, which was clear on the shorter time frames, by the way, even though it looks sloppy here, it was clear. What we ended up doing is now just ranging along this little thing right here. So at this moment in time, you're probably looking at this chart and saying, well, Mariano, why in the world are you even implying that something bad could potentially be about to happen here? Because honestly, if you look at this price action, we're making higher lows, we're making higher highs, even short term and long term. And we've actually got a massive green candle here, and it looks like we're about to break out to the top side. So why are you preaching doom and gloom or the possibility of it? Well, there's a couple reasons here, and it's kind of along the lines of what I talked about yesterday. And really, it's what happens next. Byron says, hey, Mariano, what shirt size are you wearing? We have the same build. I'll order the black version of the picture above. Cool. Yeah, I'm wearing a large, so I just have the large. And I actually have the most large shirts, like, ready to go. So, yeah, that'd be perfect. And it's up there in black and white. So, yeah, man, check it out. Appreciate that. So here's the reasoning here. If you look to the upside, you see a couple things that are a bit of a problem. Now, I'm not saying there's not a chance that we break out the top side of this pattern, but I'm saying then what next? Because even if you break out of a pattern and you get a brief little spurt up, that does not mean a continuation is going to just keep going and you're going to really see a bull run from that. Because then you have to consider what's next. Usually the best bull runs are brought about when you break through one of the high key levels and there's room to run before you run into another roadblock. Roadblocks are support and resistance lines. So now you're probably getting at what I'm saying here. As you take a look on the 4-hour time frame, which long term, which I think everybody is most concerned with right now, not just the short term, but what's going to happen over days or a couple weeks. So everybody's going to have their time frame on the higher time frames to get a better picture of what to do. So that means something like the 2-hour, the 4-hour, those time frames are what people are going to be looking at right now. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see that, okay, now let's start talking about those roadblocks, and this is my concern. Roadblock number 1, the descending triangle line that we have here, the resistance side that we're about to hit, that we have not crossed successfully one time. And by successfully, I mean crossed above it and stayed on the top side of it for any substantial period of time. All we had here was we went up, tested it once, tried to move up, failed, came back, bounced off it, and fell. That was actually a really big fail altogether. What I'm talking about is coming to the top side of this, maybe testing it, and then like not coming back. Going up to 35, getting back to trading like we should be, how we were trading here, and then maybe even making moves towards where we really need to get, which is above 42,000 to break up and confirm that we're reversing for good. And Byron, don't forget to use that promo code free coin if you want a free Dogecoin in that order. It's one of these. And limited time because I've only got like 5 of them. So that coin will be valid till they run out if you want it. It's like priced at $6 on that site. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about here. And now let's look at those roadblocks that we're about to run into. So we've got this one right here. Would I be impressed if we break through that and stay above it? Yeah, and that could actually be a really, really good sign because that would be the first time in 2 months that we did that. So that could really start a bull run. But are we going to do it? Even if we do, there's another problem, and that's that right above that, we've got the 200 EMA resistance line that's coming right here. And by that time, it's gonna have been meeting us right at about this 33.2 thousand level by the time we get up there. So now we've got to break through 2 resistances at the same time in order to break and actually confirm a reversal up. Oh, you'll buy the coin? Oh, I appreciate that. Cool. Thank you. And so we've got 2 resistances to break through. Now that's all you can see. What you don't realize is that 33,000 is also a key level of resistance, and it has been, because now let's take indicators off for just a moment and let's get a better perspective of the price action long term. Look at the 33,000 level, which is right about here. As you can see, there was a lot of activity in this general area. Touch here was right about 33,000, a little bit of a loop around, a touch here right about 33.3, a touch here right about 33 flat, 33 flat, 33 flat. This whole basic area right here, this line, is right at about 33.2, 33.5, depending on exactly where you're looking. That's a problem because now that means we have 3 levels of resistance to get through. 200 EMA, descending triangle that we haven't broken before, and the 33,000 level support at the same time. All right, and we did not get that great of news for this bounce in the first place. So for that reason, and I'm not saying, guys, that this is going to happen. All we try to do, technical analysis, social analysis, how's everybody feeling based off what's happened, and try and gauge, like, how are the other buyers thinking right now? Because that's what tells us what's probably going to happen next. So if we factor in the fact that social analysis should be people are probably not feeling super great about this, and it's kind of obvious because we're still here. We're still at 32,000. We were at 32,000 yesterday when the announcement was first made. That means we're trading and trending very, very, very slowly. Slowly means weekly. So weak bounce, in my opinion, all things considered, especially if this was the bottom for good. Now, I know once we break above here, we'd probably see a nice run up to about 35 to 37,000. I would not be surprised. But like I said, off a weak bounce and weak news, do we even get that far? I don't personally think so. So that's why I still feel a bit bearish overall. Now, if we put all of that aside, so let's put all of that aside and let's just do strictly technical analysis here and then try and get another viewpoint. Do you guys see this right here? I don't know if you guys know what this pattern is, but it's like an ascending wedge, okay? Now, in case you're not familiar with patterns, this is my second and I'd say biggest concern when it just comes to technicals alone. So let's do ascending triangle. I'm sorry, ascending wedge pattern, just to show you. And here's just what this says. The rising or ascending wedge pattern is a bearish chart pattern that signals an imminent breakout to the downside. It's the opposite of the falling descending wedge pattern, which is bullish, as these two constitute a popular wedge pattern. Now, let me just read a little bit more in case you're unfamiliar with technical analysis. It says, where does it occur? It says similar to the bullish wedge. I'll pause the music for just a moment so it's not overly distracting, and then I'll unpause it. All right, it says similar to the bullish wedge, and I can zoom in a bit in case you can't read it with me. The rising wedge consists of two converging trend lines that connect the most recent higher lows and the higher highs. In a rising wedge, the lows are catching up with the highs at a higher pace, which means that the lower support line meaning that the lower line of support here is a steeper line up. So this right here is basically what we're seeing right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we've got a bit of a ascending wedge situation right here. This line is coming up a bit steeper than this one. And so let's just continue on. And it's more of an ascending wedge than it looks to be a trend channel. And usually you don't even see trend channels that shape out like that, honestly. And then it just says, let me see. Let's see. You note three things on a rising wedge. The price action temporarily trends in an uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows, kind of fools people. Two trend lines, support and resistance, that look like they're about to converge at some point. And then the decrease in volume as the wedge progresses towards the breakout. So that's really what we have to look for as we get closer to the end of this year, would be a potential decrease in volume. Now, don't get me wrong. If this shapes out a little bit better, maybe this was not a descending wedge pattern. Maybe it wasn't, but I mean, even if you put the tops really at the very top, it looks even more like a ascending wedge pattern. If you do it like that, which is probably a little more proper, but I was just trying to get it where more touches were. But that's definitely an ascending wedge pattern. Now, sometimes patterns are wrong and people are just not looking at things the same way. So if I go to the 30-minute chart, maybe people aren't looking at it like that. Either way, that's kind of like a pretty massive head and shoulders. So I don't know what's going on here, but that's actually kind of terrifying. Anyway, wow. Look at that. That's also a bearish reversal pattern, guys. So I'll be surprised if we break to the top side, and that will just prove that this is off of emotional sentiment and not so much technicals. So, because to break to the bullish side of two bearish patterns, short term and long term, is going to be a bit surprising. And if that happens, then it's kind of confirmation this is emotionally driven, and forget the technicals, and probably should look for a buy because it's probably going to go on a massive bull run. But then other than that, even if we do break to the top side of this bullish or bearish pattern somehow, like I said, we've got this resistance line, the 200 EMA line, right above it, and the 33,000 resistance line right above it as well at the same place. We're going to hit three resistances at once. Are we going to be strong enough to break through that? I just don't think so. All right, and that's just my humble opinion, and we'll see what happens. Now, this candle looks nice, so we'll see. We'll see. I will say, though, guys, I'm not a FUD spreader. I'm not just saying that because I want to say the price is going to go wrong. I did buy a call. So if it does go down, I do not benefit from that statement. I would love for it to take off here and me not lose the bit of money I bought in that crypto call. All right. And there's nothing I can do about it. Right now, at this rate, it's going to expire worthless. So it would be cool if it takes off here. I'm just saying things don't look that way. Not anymore. We started getting this ascending wedge bearish pattern, head and shoulders on shorter time frame, and we have 3 resistance lines now at the same spot. So it's not looking so hot. So thankfully, I only bought 1 call instead of like the 10 that I could have bought. I knew it was a bit of a risky play. At the moment, we had some strong momentum, so I was like, I'll buy one here, just see what happens. But I'm just not feeling convinced anymore it's going to continue. So my loss happens. Now, here's the other problem. What if we do, let's just say, what if we do break above the 3 resistance lines? Well, what next? Now we've got the key, even stronger level of 35,000 to deal with. So do we really break through 3 lines and then also break above the $35,000 level and get to the top side of that and start holding there all of a sudden? Because I don't know about y'all, but when I take a look at my chart, and let's just now delete this trend line so it's out of the way. When you start looking at the last time that we were comfortably trading around or on top of the 35,000 level, that was June. This wasn't even comfortably trading above it. So I'm going to say like here, about June 17th. That was a month and a half ago. So after that point, we've been under here slamming against it as resistance and have not been able to break out above it and hold above it at all. Not once. This does not count. We peaked up and came back down. That's not breaking out and holding above. We failed there. It was a fake out. So if we can manage to get back up here, also very surprising, and that means people really took this event much better than they're leading on, and there's just very slow buying volume starting to come in gradually. It's not the normal, oh, this is the bottom spike. That just means everybody's still on edge, and they're just slowly getting more and more confident here. Again, that's not conventional, but it could happen. But like I said, 3 resistances, another one right above it, and then an ascending bearish wedge pattern, and then on the shorter time frame, a head and shoulders in between that. And we're right at about the shoulder here, so we'll see what happens. Usually you don't see a bounce up to where it passes that shoulder, so this is interesting. But yeah, just multiple conflicting signs. Technicals say absolutely not, whereas price action is really trying. So looks like people are trying to feel bullish here, and they want this to be just a continuation play. So we'll see. But usually when it's bullish, you see a falling pattern, just like a bear flag. But it really looks like people, maybe it's whales starting to just come in and kind of manipulate the price a bit as they slowly start to buy back in. Because that news was really best for whales. It really was. The fact that, anyone that had large sums of money that was really interested in Bitcoin and that were just sitting on the sidelines, because they're super patient, right? They're already rich. There's no reason for them to try and gamble and do a risky play. They want to buy in once they have confirmation on good news. So they're going to be kind of the last ones in before the FOMO retail buyers that didn't buy in for some reason at good prices come in as well to finish it off. So if they took that news as good, maybe we see a lot of scared retail traders and some whales coming in, slowly grinding the price up in an unconventional way. So that's just my guess, but yeah. So yeah. All right, I'll read a couple comments and unpause the music here. Yeah, guys, and also, so this is what I've been talking about too for the last week now, I guess, is what is the Fed going to do, because they strongly dislike crypto. And now, according to Subi Pilot, Warren's attempting to get the SEC to make new rules for cryptocurrency. So that would just not be good at all. And Bitcoin could get absolutely stunted. Its recovery here could get slammed back down and force even lower lows if the government really cracks down on crypto. And I don't know what the chance of recovery is at that point. There's just a lot of negative things going on right now. So for that reason, I also don't feel super confident in Bitcoin very short term. I think we need to let a lot of these things pass. So I don't know. Compare, I read that one. When do I think Doge will go to 30 cents? Oh man, 30 cents. We have a chance of going to 30 cents on the 28th when Vitalik, the co-founder or the main founder of Ethereum, the creator of it, he's going to be talking with the Dogecoin devs about a potential integration with Dogecoin onto the Ethereum network, kind of bridging over, just like right now Dogecoin's kind of bridged onto Litecoin, uses their blockchain. And so if we get any like great news from that could make Dogecoin go up, especially if they start talking about additional functionality. And what that should enable too is easier access to smart contracts. It could be massive. So yeah, just have to stay tuned for that. Other than that, I don't feel bullish on Bitcoin right now. So we're pulling back at that shoulder. I don't feel bullish on Bitcoin right now, so I'm not going to say I think anytime sooner than that it's going to hit 30 cents, or if nothing happens at that event, that I think short term after that it's going to hit 30 cents. We really have to wait and see how Bitcoin plays this out. Meanwhile, I think we'll be hanging out under 20 cents for, I don't know, week, 2 weeks. We might see another crash even. If this play right here doesn't go so well, we'll probably most likely see another crash and see 16, 17 or lower cents again. This move right here, in my opinion, is kind of Bitcoin's only hope. If it doesn't break above 33 and get out of the descending trend line and start signaling reversal signs, I think we see a deeper crash. Because what ended up happening, I mean, we have a triple bottom here. There's only so many times you hit the bottom. Like, they don't have patterns that are like quadruple bottom, sextuple bottom, however many bottoms, right? Usually it's a double bottom or triple bottom. If you keep hitting the bottom after that, there's a problem, because that kind of signifies no buying pressure to keep you from bottoming out. So if we come back down here like for a fourth time and it's on still making lower swing lows, that's probably going to signify that we're going to the bottom side. Did you know Doge 1 mission's not the end? There's also going to be a Doge 2. I heard that from a live the other day from Steel. Oh, wow, really? I actually did not hear that at all. That's awesome. That could be nice. That's going to be great publicity. So, yeah, that's great. I'm going to move this up to the 33 level, which is where it really matters. There we go. So you see what I'm saying here? We've got descending trend line of the 200 EMA that's going to hit right about here by the time we make it up there. That's if we go straight up. If we delay, this line keeps getting pulled down. So it's going to hit right here. The 33,000 levels going to hit right here. And this descending trend line, the long-term one, is going to hit right there as well. So we're going to be in quite the situation as we're trying to get through 3 levels at once. And in my opinion, it's just kind of unlikely. Now, if we get to the top side of that and can hold, now we have 3 supports. So that's going to be great for a reversal. But can we do it? I just don't think so. Either way, now is not the time to buy, guys. That's all I'm saying. If you're not already in, now is not the time to add more. If you are already in, I'm not saying that now's the time to sell, because it's still a bit of a 50-50 moment, but just some conflicting information. I mean, if anything, this is just me, being that there's so many negative signs, and there's technically a lot of things against us, it would make more sense to take profit than it would to add. And that's because usually when you if there's no real crazy news to make a emotionally based decision, like off social sentiment, then usually the only thing you have to fall back on is technicals. And we don't have crazy news to go off of. And the news that we got wasn't, in my opinion, great enough to cause the final reversal. And then technicals are all saying bad things. So if anything, it makes more sense to start looking for a sell and then maybe look for a re-entry later, versus looking to add more here at the potential top when all things are signifying it wants to say like, okay, I'm done. But we'll see how this continues to play out. But I definitely won't be adding more at this price, guys. So just keep that in mind for anybody that was about to ask me. I am in technically, but I'm not buying more. If anything, I'm going to start looking for take profit opportunities And I don't care at that point if it shoots up to 33, gets to the top side, and then starts moving to 34. At that point, I will just look for a re-entry. Yes, I lost a couple cents, but grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter. It's about taking like high probability plays and eliminating the low probability plays. And yeah, you lose a little bit of profit along the way, but oh, check that out. Byron says, I just paid you in Doge via Coinbase. I bought 3 items. It was a smooth transaction. Dude, thank you so much. That's awesome. Appreciate you supporting the store. And I'm glad to hear that it went smooth. That's awesome, guys. By the way, I'll take a very quick moment to just say what Byron's talking about. I do have, if you haven't noticed, it's probably kind of everywhere at this point. I did recently open a Doge-themed apparel shop. It is not merch that is like drop shipped to you. I literally design everything myself and I make it myself. High quality shirts and materials only. People have requested stuff that would have come out low quality and I decline it because it's not about the money, or else I would have just used cheap shirts and stuff. So if you want to check it out, it is myhodlwear, HODL.com. You can just Google my hodlwear. I'm the only thing that pops up. And the cool thing about it is 100% Dogecoin only. I do not accept Visa. I do not accept MasterCard. All of the other payment types are disabled because being a believer in Dogecoin, I'm trying to support that movement, which means I'm only going to take Dogecoin as payment. And it's like he said, it's actually a really cool process. You add your stuff to your cart, obviously, that you want. You go through the checkout, and at the end it says, here's your total. And then you can either scan the QR code to send your Doge amount that it tells you to send to that wallet address, and then it'll confirm that you're good, or you can just copy and paste the address and send it manually. But super smooth. If you haven't bought anything with Dogecoin yet and you also would like a cool Dogecoin shirt, check it out for sure. myhodlwear.com. Let's switch over to Doge. And I'm wearing the matte black version of the shirt you see above me, by the way. So comfortable. If we are out, any idea where to go while we wait? Ooh. That's a good question. And I have to say no. I don't, because the problem is anywhere else I would recommend going is going to be controlled by Bitcoin's market movement too, because most of the things I trade are not like micro cap cryptocurrencies. They're more like top 100, kind of stable, which means when they don't have good news to go off of, they just follow Bitcoin. So I have to say I don't. The only thing that could potentially that I could say would be AMP. AMP is probably the only thing that I would recommend to buy that does not as closely follow Bitcoin's price action, just because the way they set it up, it was to be less volatile and to really the price action to be driven more so based off of the use of AMP. And I think Flexa network and AMP has a lot of potential. So maybe that, but I don't even know. Let's check coinmarketcap.com really quick. I haven't been on there today yet. Let's see where AMP is. Oh, AMP's still at 5 cents. AMP is doing really well, man. Look, it's actually up 18.5% today. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Though the market is not doing so great and most things are just at 0 or -%, AMP is not directly tied to the price action, even though it is somewhat high market cap at 2 billion. It's actually up 20% today. And that's because AMP, the way they crafted this service was for it to be less volatile, and like I said, the price movement to be based off of the usage of the coin, and the usage of the coin being what gives it value. Kind of similar to Dogecoin's theory, where the more that people use Dogecoin, the more value it starts to gain. And unfortunately right now we don't have any catalyst to really break us free from Bitcoin's price action, but it's the same type of idea. The Flexa network being used and Dogecoin being used, that's how they get their value. Let's see. And I'll get that shirt out to you right after this stream, Byron. 100%. Those shirts. I watched all videos you made. Nice, Michael. I appreciate that. I'm so bearish about the market. True. But you said it will be $1 this year. Do I really believe whole crypto market will recover this year, or like 2018 in 3 years? That's a good question. I will say, you know, towards the beginning of this whole thing, I was pretty bullish overall. But just circumstances have changed. And unfortunately, though, I would love to be right all the time. World circumstances change, and we get new pieces of information. People start saying new stuff. People change their minds about certain things. The government starts cracking down on certain things that really change the outlook of situations. Now, when it comes to Dogecoin, I am getting more and more, and this is just cryptocurrency in general. Though I'm bullish on Dogecoin and cryptocurrency in general, like I've always said, Dogecoin, in my opinion, is a bit of a volatile ticking time bomb, where Dogecoin has this massive lead over pretty much everything else in the marketplace, because really it has no competition except for XRP, which people don't like because it's got centralized components. So if we're talking a decentralized crypto that's made specifically to be used as a currency, a cryptocurrency specifically, and only do that, only be used for executing transactions, to buy things with, to sell, to exchange for goods and services. Dogecoin's really one of the only ones in that group that doesn't try to do a whole lot of other stuff too, which makes it unique. It's focused on one thing. Other than that, XLM. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, there's some competition, right? Because you will find a coin or two other than that tries to compete. But the thing is, none of those coins are, because adoption's what really matters when it comes to a currency. These currencies aren't really worth anything unless people decide to assign that value to them. Otherwise, it's just like having like I always say, an arcade token. It's valuable in that arcade. You take it outside, go to Walmart, try and buy stuff with your arcade token, and see how that goes. People just don't value it outside of the small community. But the bigger you can make that community, the more value the coin has, because more people are going to take it serious and accept it in exchange for what they have. So that's what makes the value of a cryptocurrency increase, especially more, specifically one that's going to be used as payment for services. Because yes, people in the cryptocurrency space, Ethereum, they believe in it. They're nerdy. They know about the, ETH 2.0, blockchain, layer 2, blah, 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 right? But the people in that community also understand it. When you go to a cryptocurrency that's supposed to be used just for buying and selling and transacting, it's way broader scale, because now you have to convince the general public that isn't necessarily so nerdy, that doesn't know anything about blockchain, that there is some kind of reason why they should be accepting, in exchange for their time, their labor, their things that they paid hard-earned cash for, that could be what they need to pay their bills, to take back in exchange Dogecoin. And how many people can you convince that Dogecoin is actually going to be worth it, and that, if they hold it, they're not just basically holding a ticking time bomb little coin that, in 2 months from now, 6 months from now, it's going to be worth $0 and they're going to lose everything, right? So it's basically like they sold everything for free. That's the biggest hurdle with crypto. And because Dogecoin is by far the largest community in the crypto space, I mean, you have to say maybe even bigger than Bitcoin at this point as far as like community. Because of that, Dogecoin just has this massive edge over anyone else. Even if there are technically better spec'd coins, it only matters if the awareness can come too, and the understanding in the community. And there's just nothing close, unfortunately, for them. There just isn't. So because of that, Dogecoin has this lead. And that's why I don't think anything else is really going to stop it. The only thing that can stop it is too much time passing to give other cryptocurrencies a chance to catch up. As, let's just say Dogecoin community, the price keeps trading sideways, kind of stale. They start getting bored. Too much time passes. A lot of the community driven, like, accept Doge movement slows down, and these other coins start coming up. And now people are less enthused about the Shiba Inu brand of dog, the meme, everything. You know what I mean? They just start getting kind of bored. And then what ends up happening is you start seeing these other coins start to come up that are like fundamentally way better for transacting than Dogecoin. Because there's not really any that are like 50 billion max supply, halves with the foundation for liquidity. Nice. So like there's a couple things that you need with like a cryptocurrency that should be used as currency. It's almost like you shouldn't have, and this isn't tied to what Schmicky just said, but it's almost like you shouldn't have a fixed supply. You should have a set rate of supply that's given out, but then if it's successful, the demand should consistently outweigh the supply to a point where it could be still considered deflationary, but there's still going to be a continued generation of it so that there's enough to go around, especially as the adoption of it grows and potentially goes global. But then, you know, specifications, really cheap transaction fees, really fast, all that stuff, secure network, mining, maybe some layer 2 solutions, maybe not. That part doesn't really matter too much. The simpler, probably the better, and just stay focused on its task. So another coin could come up that checks all of those boxes. Maybe it's a little bit less supply than Dogecoin right now, which who knows, because unless you're into like super into economics and everything, you probably haven't done the math on is 10,000 per block 1 billion or whatever it was per year addition to the circulating supply, if we are a global currency, going to be inflationary or deflationary if everybody's using it. In my opinion, I think it'd still be deflationary because compared to global use, that's actually not that much. And the circulating supply of Dogecoin being a couple billion or something like that isn't actually that much compared to all the people in the world either. Because look here, Dogecoin, 130 billion, right? How many people are on the planet? So if we say this becomes a global currency and everyone's got some Doge, I mean, how many Doge can they actually have? What, last time I checked, there was like 6 to 8 billion people, and that number probably has changed by now. 130 billion Doge. So that means if it goes global, each person could have like 5 Dogecoin. So that's, most people do have more than $5, you know, I will say that. So it's actually not that big of a number. And adding to that supply isn't going to be that bad if a lot of people are using it. Yes, but when it's for money transfers, you don't need the supply, as it'll all just be in the system with the value of the underlying token growing. I mean, yes, yeah, that's true. That is true. But there is like, I mean, there's a world where you could still be deflationary and still keep the supply going, right? It doesn't have to be a fixed supply. Now, if you do fix the supply, you start ending up in this scenario, kind of like where Bitcoin's getting, to where it becomes such a monstrosity that most people get kind of turned off from Bitcoin because it's too expensive. Now, it's great if you invested cheap, but for the everyday person, they would like to have, I think, and this is just mentally what ends up happening. It's why people get so drawn in to cheap coins. People like to own something and own a lot of it. It makes them feel good. When you can only buy a portion of something, it makes you feel like you're broke. So me, for example, let's just say I have $10,000. I could either buy like 100,000 Dogecoins at this price, or I could buy a third of 1 Bitcoin. If I buy into Bitcoin, I'm going to feel broke right off the bat and kind of unhappy. And I'd be like, man, I wish I could afford one. But Dogecoin, I'm at, yeah, I got 100,000 Doge. It's just a mental thing. So there's room for fixed supply, but I don't think it's necessary. Though there are pros and cons to both. But I think for an everyday currency, honestly, it would be better to see the price remain just close to the US dollar. Now, I'm not saying tie Doge to $1, though I think a Doge $1 makes the most sense. But I mean, make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, 10. And if it can stay at that rate, that seems good enough to me. And it's still feasible. Like, people will still not be turned off by it. Maybe even 20. You know? But anyway, that was a little rant. I don't even know why I started saying that. Oh, yeah. Competition. So that's one of the biggest things against... Well, yeah, Schmicky, that's the biggest technical reason. But I just mean to, like, the general population. Like, if you want to buy a Bitcoin, the everyday person, the retail trader, the retail investor... the price is just so high that, I mean, even me personally, I look at Bitcoin, I'm like, oh, I can't afford one. You know, it kind of sucks. So when the price, and especially because it's a slower moving coin, it's just like, it's not appealing. I want to own something or a couple of something, not a portion of something. It just, you know, and that's just kind of the, I mean, it's just the mentality of the everyday person. And that could be driven by greed, because they just naturally think if they own more that there's more potential, like how SHIB was priced so like a bait with like 6 zeros in front of it. Now everybody's like, yeah, I've got 75 million SHIB. That means if it hits $1, I'll be a billionaire. You know, that's just, it's not how it works though, but that's how people think. But anyway, that's just my opinion, to each their own. But my point is, when Dogecoin, if it just takes too long to get to where it needs to go, it could be a problem, because the competition is going to come up, because fundamentally Dogecoin's not that special anyway. It could easily get overtaken. So, and if it does, and the hype has started to cool off as people see, oh, Doge really isn't going anywhere, and more people just sell and get bored, and Elon calms down and doesn't do anything special, then that just opens up the window for competition to come in, fundamentally better than Doge, limited supply, reduced supply, faster, cheaper to use, maybe also a family-friendly name and logo, and then that will be the next big thing, and Dogecoin will fade into oblivion. So that's the curse of, if this takes too long and we don't get to where we need to go soon. Now, it does not help that we're now getting FUD spread about, or just news in general about the Fed trying to crack down on crypto and make it harder to interact with, which is my biggest concern, because that could just crash crypto in general. That'll just turn people off from using it, which is going to obviously affect Dogecoin. So we'll see what they do, but it's going to be a ride. But we kind of knew that going into crypto. If you wanted more safety, you'd be in the stock market. So let's see. A couple more comments here. Elon Musk summoning a new sun is a catalyst for Doge being a new whale. Yeah, true. Yeah, his son is holding. Elon is a pumper, not a dumper. Yeah, that was hilarious when he said that. Loving the matte black Doge. Super cool. Thank you, man. Hey, what's up, Larry? Yeah. Exactly. The further away it gets. Exactly. Yeah, and Bitcoin's a store of wealth. Like, if you own Bitcoin, you don't really want to spend it. That's another problem. If it's me, I don't ever want to spend my Bitcoin. It's supposed to go up at an exponential rate. So by you spending your Bitcoin, you're essentially just costing yourself money. Whereas Dogecoin is more level and kind of, it doesn't particularly increase in value like crazy over time. It's more stable. So it might go up a bit over time as adoption increases, but Bitcoin, you know, they're saying by end of year was supposed to be $100,000, and then by end of like the next 3 years, $500,000 per. Like, who really wants to spend that kind of investment? And yeah, Lightning Network also, I think it's a waste of time. Like, Bitcoin is not, in my opinion, for spending. That's kind of defeats the purpose of it, which is fine. Every coin has its purpose, but I think that purpose should be recognized. Hang on, guys. Wait, can I? Oh, wait a second. One moment, guys. I'm doing something real quick. There we go. slideshow. We millionaires yet? Not yet, Dave. Not quite yet. The longer it takes... Oh, yeah, I read that. XLM for sending money abroad is a match made in heaven. You're def buying some bags and waiting to see what happens after this MoneyGram deal goes through. Yeah, partnering with a big company like that could be a big deal. So, you give us a twirl. I want to check out the new shirt. What was the inspiration? Artful. This was another shirt that was designed by one of y'all. So, guys, if you have any ideas of, like, a shirt that you'd like to see, feel free to shoot that idea my way. I am considering all of those ideas, and a lot of them actually make it. And what ends up happening is if that idea does end up making it, you get credit for it. So, like, by that, I mean, like, your name gets put on the listing. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Preezy knows. One of his are up there right now. Lori says, hey, what's up? Just got here. Miss anything major? Are we headed for that 17 dip again? Probably, in my opinion. It's very likely, but we'll see. I'll talk about that again in just a sec. What's up, Chosen? You're late today? Hey, better late than never. So much room to grow, and it'll grow easier than Doge, XLM. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And here's the problem. As people start to realize what the other competition is, this is just the whole problem, guys. There are other options right there, out right now. Some of them could potentially be better than Doge, even though I haven't researched all of those other options. The problem is, though, they don't have the community Dogecoin has, which means they don't have the adoption. The value isn't understood by everyone. Disaster, what was the underwear idea? I don't have underwear yet, but let me write it down because I did forget. Right now I just have like shirts and like Dogecoins. These. But as the hype, and it looks like we're down for maintenance, so let's switch to trading view. As the hype of Dogecoin, like if nothing happens, let's just say 6 months from now, we have no new major catalyst. It is inevitable that Dogecoin's going to lose some steam. All right, as Dogecoin loses steam, people will get bored and start looking into other investments, and the other things in that sector that people just glossed over because they didn't care about it will then start to be more noticed. So those assets prices will go up, and Dogecoin will probably end up getting abandoned if it has not improved to be competitive. Now, we know we have the transaction fee thing coming, which is great, and we know that down the line we also have transaction speed updates and smart contracts. That's great, but like I said, just a ticking time bomb as far as the popularity of Dogecoin goes. I'm not saying Dogecoin is going to completely fail no matter what, like regardless, either way. But I am saying if we want to stay comfortably in first place like we are right now and keep the hype train moving, we can't allow so much time to pass before we get more good news and progression that the other coins have a chance to catch up and match us, because that will be a problem. Right now, we're in a perfect world with basically no competition, because the average retail trader has no idea about XLM, maybe kind of XRP, but if it's not like top 10 market cap, top 5, they don't really know. Community is good, also eats itself with the early adopters ruining the new ones. Yeah. Right. A Dogecoin in the back and in the front. Let me write that down. That's pretty funny. Oh, here's the other ideas, guys. Still here. These were the ideas from yesterday's stream. It does play in somewhere, Bryce, but the thing is how it's kind of the thing that we learned from the Shiba Inu example. And I'm not going my intention is not to keep bashing SHIB, but I'm just, real world examples are the best thing to relate to, all right? That's just how it goes. Everyone holds until everyone doesn't hold. That's just the way it goes. Like if people get bored with something all of a sudden and they start losing their sight, their long-term vision of the potential, that's when people stop deciding to hold. These days, though, I can't really, I mean, we do have hodlers for sure, but I can't say that really everybody's in like a just holding period anymore. There's definitely a lot of interest in Dogecoin, which is still great. But there's a lot of people holding, it's not like it was a month ago or 2 months ago, rather. It's just really not. We've got people at this point, I feel like Dogecoin is mostly retail traders invested, and they have a harder time understanding the concept of like what a crash is. Like, things crash, but then things go back up. It's like, if you learned anything from the pandemic, for example, everything was at all-time lows. Bitcoin was at like $3,400. I saw it on my Robinhood and almost bought a Bitcoin at like $3,500 or something like that. That's just what happens when markets crash. But then markets recover and all these things are back 10x to 100x, and everyone's like, man, I should have bought. But retail traders are usually the ones that sell at panic low levels and then don't ride the wave back up, and then they buy back in high. And most of the people in Dogecoin are just your everyday retail noob trader. Right, and the crash exactly scared a lot of new traders. That's the problem. Most of the Dogecoin community, they're brand new, and this could be their first time in the crypto stock market game. If that's the case, they're probably not doing so well unless they're like watching a channel like this or similar other channels that explain trading mentality, when to buy, when to sell, and how not to get faked out. Because markets get manipulated, things get shorted, and they do things that can really make you emotionally react and make the wrong decision. And then there goes your bank account very quickly. But the problem is, those people that are still holding, they're holding because they're expecting, just like a lot of us are, that within the next couple months, you know, Elon Musk Doge for Tesla and continued adoption by places. If that ever slows down, let's just say 6 months go by, Elon hasn't done the Doge for Tesla thing and he stopped talking about it, which is honestly our biggest catalyst to get us to $1. And then maybe another place or two gives us acceptance, right? Let's just say Amazon, and we go up to like 50 cents or something. Awesome. But then it kind of stalls out at some point and we don't get more good news to keep the price hiking up. People might get bored and decide to take profit and then kind of not buy back in. Unfortunately for Dogecoin, massive announcements of adoption is what will drive the price back up. Now, Bitcoin's market movement will pull the price back up to where we came from. So I'm not saying Doge to 40, 45, 50 cents isn't going to happen. But I'm just saying, if we take too long to get our major catalyst, then Doge to like $1 gets way harder to accomplish. Though it is still possible. It's just a time game. That's all I'm saying. We got to get there in time. Before it's too late. Oh yes, I do. Yeah, I'll show the shirt real quick. I don't know if I'll give a twirl, but I'll stand so that you can see it. How about that? Just in case you wanted to see what it looks like. So, can you see that? Oh, there's a lot of light over there. And this is matte black, by the way. On black. So. All right. No need for Elon either, which you're tired of. Yeah. The need for Elon, you know, it's a lot to rely on. But honestly, he's kind of controlling the whole market right now. So crypto in general is at Elon's mercy. Yeah, XLM could be a play for sure. If I missed your comment somehow, just please re-ask it. For success for creating paper hands, basically. Right, exactly. If you're looking for 100x, you got to go elsewhere. And I think, and that's a lot of, that's part of the reason why we saw a lot of our buyers leave after the move to 74 cents. Once they saw the downtrend happen for more than a couple days, they got so bored that, I mean, they started creating all these other coins that were made to pump and bait all these people that were desperate for a 100x move. They're like, man, it's like FOMO buying into other currencies. If that's even a thing, but you know what I mean. It's like, man, I missed out on that 100x. Where can I find another one? Where can I get in? Ooh, Safe Moon. Ooh, Shiba Inu. It's playing off Dogecoin. It's super cheap, and they're saying if it goes to 10 cents, I can 10,000x my investment. I must buy. That's what ended up happening. But yeah, that 100x ship has definitely sailed. This is more of a safe, risky play. Like, it's a nice balance between, like, we have fundamentals, we have a use case, we have community, we know we're stable with price, and we've got catalysts to get us to a comfortable 4x gain, right? It's not 100x, but it's going to make people a lot of money. And right now, the gain's more like 5x, and as it goes down, that gets closer to even 10x if you get down to like 10 cents Doge. If, of course, if. That is always the case, if. Hey, to the moon? Yes, to the moon. After this recent volatility, when the market goes up, people are afraid that maybe the days top and they sell. Yeah, they do scalp, right? We need to stack some green days to re-strengthen the new investors' resolve. That's what I'm saying. We need to get Bitcoin recovery, and that's what's really going to do it. The order this needs to go in is Elon Musk accept Bitcoin back for Tesla. That will bring the market back up to like 30, 40, 50 cents, not 30 cents, 40, 50 cents Dogecoin, maybe even a little bit higher. From there, hype comes back into Dogecoin, buyers come back in, the hype train restarts its engine, starts revving, all that good stuff. It's oiled and ready to go. Then announcements will have way bigger effect on Dogecoin as those like hype buyers are more interested in the coin. Right now, announcements for Dogecoin looks dead to people. So it's a turn off to the hype community. To get those guys back, we have to be doing well and get their attention. The same way that like GameStop and AMC, for example, the meme stocks, the price crashed recently on AMC from like $72 down to like $30, and it looked like it was doomed. Then all of a sudden, a little bit of a reversal, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're going back up. Everyone, all the meme stock buyers, we're back in. Buy. And they bumped the price up from like $30 to $50 in a day. That's what we need, the attention back. And we just don't have it. People are bored with Doge right now because it's been sitting at 15 to 20 cents for the last 4 weeks. The time it takes for us to reach all-time high on Doge against the backdrop of 10K coins, yeah, per block, right. The longer we wait for this bullish momentum, the more money we'll need to reach. Yes, that's a problem too. Because we keep creating coins, but adoption doesn't increase, which means then we just become inflationary. So it's like I said, it's all a ticking time bomb for Dogecoin, but we will be successful if within the next 2 to 3 months we get the news we need. That's all we need to happen. Bitcoin recovery, and then that will bring Doge back up enough to hold it. And then hopefully Elon announcements and large company announcements around that time. We'll be fine if it goes that way. If we're going 6 months to a year, nothing's really changed, unlikely that Dogecoin will have moved beyond where it's going to recover to with Bitcoin, which is like 40, 50, 60 cents. Unlikely we have gotten higher than that. That's still good returns if you're buying now, though, guys. I'm not saying Dogecoin's not going to get back to 50 cents. I'm just saying if we're talking $1, that's the roadmap. And I'm not going to be unreasonable either and say we're just going to hit $1 no matter what. Things have to go the way that they're supposed to. It's likely they do, but it's possible they don't. So always diversify at least a little bit. Does Doge slide if eToro does list SHIB on Monday? Sometimes I feel Doge and SHIB holders keep jumping back and forth. I don't think so. I think the community is pretty well sorted out at this point. I think it's pretty well separated. I don't think that'll have any effect on Doge. Now, it'll have a great effect on SHIB, though. And yeah, maybe you get a couple bored Dogecoin holders looking to look into something more volatile, but I don't think it's going to be a massive deal for Dogecoin. Yeah, exactly. That is true, Schmicky. Some utility would be nice. The smart contract discussion would be cool. Oh yeah, we're absolutely doing a watch party for the Doge ETH event. It's going to be on the 28th. When it's live, I will be live just like I was for the B-Word event, and we'll be good to go. Institutional hodlers, yes, true, and they're only going to invest most likely when Dogecoin goes back up and looks stable again. So it's Dimitri, what's up? I'm tired of Doge programmers just not doing anything. They are moving a little slow. I feel that we're still in the beginning. Once we hit $1, I think that'll act as a catalyst as well. I do too. That's what I've said it before. You know, we hit $1. If we can hold above $1 comfortably, people's mindset starts to change the further away from $1 you get. So right now we're thinking, man, if we can go up 60 cents and hit $1, that would be amazing. Once you hit $1, you're like, well, what if we go up a whole nother $1 to $2 or maybe even $3? Like the higher number, the more zeros you take off, the bigger your next target becomes, which makes it easier to move in between that range from that point to the target. It's just a mental thing. So hitting $1 will be the first thing that needs to happen, but it'll also be the best thing that could happen for us, because then next target, if we can be stable somewhere up above, like let's just say $1.05 to 10 cents, then everyone's going to start thinking $1.50 and then $2, and that's just going to make people really wealthy if we can do that. Now this, I will say July 28th could be one of the most important things for Dogecoin, talking about that Doge to ETH bridge and what that could possibly bring. All right, bit of a reversal here on Doge. Cool. One second, guys. Sorry. Yep, a little bit of a breakout happening. A little bit of a little tag under the 200 EMA line, which is it's a classic, honestly, and a bit of a takeoff. So, like I said, we're just going to have to watch this and see what happens. But this is just not particularly a moment where I'm like, oh, I must buy. Like, if I'm not in right now, I would rather just wait, see what happens. The way you make the most money, and it does not mean that you catch every cent of every single move. The way that you make money is by taking it slow, executing as few trades as you possibly can while still being effective. If you can master that, you will save your own life, your own financial life when it comes to trading. The more informed decisions you take and the less decisions that you make, you know, it eliminates more possibilities of being wrong. And so if you can just take a couple trades and those couple trades be at ideal spots, let's just say you do 4 trades, 1 was slightly wrong and the other 3 were very right, you're doing well. If you do 100 trades and 51 of them were right and 49 of them were wrong, unless you did all 49 of those trades the right way, those losses, unless you cut them the right way, you are probably not in profit, just because of emotions and how they usually kick in and make you make the wrong decision, which market manipulators know and take advantage of. But keep it simple. If you don't have to do something, probably don't do it. 28th, what time? I think it's around noon. I have to double check. You know you don't wake up that early to be live on the 28th. No, I'm awake. I'm just at work. But I'll be live. I'll figure it out. What's up, Ali? Good afternoon. Problem is China. Yes, true. China's a massive problem. And only think what Elon's scared of is China government because of Tesla. Maybe. We'll see. Well, the thing is, Tesla already accepted Bitcoin. So if it has to do with China, I don't know. Unless part of their reason for dropping it was really because of China, which I doubt. I think Elon would rather prove a point to them by taking it back than not. So this looks pretty strong, guys. We'll see what happens. Though this is a ascending wedge, which is technically bearish, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens here and see if we just manage to break out the top. If we do, we have still 3 resistance lines to break above. So I'm still not bullish if we break out of here. But then if we get above those lines, that's when I would consider looking for an entry. Once we pull back, hold it as support, and then start moving up. Being patient like that will only put us maybe a cent away on Dogecoin. So that's why I'm not sitting here getting excited, because I'm like, if we go up, all right, cool. I maybe would have preferred a dip because I doubt we're taking off for the long haul here. So why even waste time, Bitcoin? We might as well just go down first, get to where we need to go, and then never come back down. I'd rather that happen. But if we're going to make a nice move up here, let's just say Bitcoin 35,000, I'll end up waiting to see if we clear the resistances at 33s, pull back to like 36 there, 33.8. I'm sorry, 33.6, 33.8. Look for that to test as support. And if we start making a strong bounce off of that, then I'll look for an entry there at the bottom and ride it up till it stops. But that's only going to be, I mean, we're at about 32.7 right now, and I'm talking about entering at about 33.7. So $1,000 on Bitcoin, what is that going to be, like a cent on Doge? It's really not much of a difference to make sure you're getting in at a right time versus buying at the top and messing up your money. I just prefer to do the smarter. It's always risky. First of all, it's crypto. Second of all, it's volatile because it's crypto. And third, you never really know. And we're not down at 17 cents, which is kind of like an obvious bottom at 16. So it's always going to be risky, but it's like the lowest risk, highest possibility of being right plays you can take. Those are what I like to do. Crypto continues on this path. I think one day China might have to allow it again. Am I wrong? If it really becomes global, maybe. But we'll have to see just how it ends up going. All right, guys. Well, I will say kind of in conclusion here, this was a good discussion, about an hour and a half. That's awesome. Glad everybody was able to hang around and get all those questions out. What I didn't like here, I mean, we had a pretty clear head and shoulders here, so this is a bit confusing. But like I said, if we're going to have emotionally driven bullish momentum, it could just ignore technical patterns that are starting to form. The head and shoulders, the ascending wedge, 2 bearish things, and 3 resistance lines could break through all of those. And we'll just see and look for an entry if it looks strong. Maybe at a pullback like right here and look for a buy as we head up. I don't mind that. I spend a bit too much on Doge, but I believe in Elon Musk. Done a lot of research. It seems like a lot of positive stuff is happening. Yeah, especially being in down here, 18, 17 cents. It's pretty low risk. I mean, if we go to 10, you lost. Yeah, I mean, it's still bad, but I'm just saying. Very high reward to risk ratio. So I'll take those. You like the shirt? Thank you. Yeah, guys, thank you all for hanging out. Just keep an eye on the chart, see what happens. I will be buying probably some more if we go up here, pull back to like this descending trend line and start to head up like towards 34. I might buy a little more, and then if we go further than that, look for another entry at like 35. So about 33.8 first entry, 35 will maybe be my next. I'm not going to buy probably above 34, as then we're getting to the next resistance line, highest chance of reversal. It's never smart. So that's what I'm looking at. And we'll see what happens. I just don't really have faith. I don't really know why it's going up here, but it's not for me to know, I guess. Who cares? So keep an eye on that chart. Of course, follow me on Twitter if you want updates in between now and next time I live stream tomorrow. And then check out the website, of course, hodlware.store or myhodlware.com, whichever one feels easier for you to type out. Both of them will lead to the same place. And I just wanted to show you that if you have any ideas for apparel that you would like to see, cool ideas for Dogecoin apparel, let me know. I write them all down, and if it seems like good enough, like, oh yeah, I gotta do that, I'll put it like at the top of the list and make it. If not for that moment, I'll file it and then it'll maybe come later. But for example, Preezy 2X, I didn't see him in the stream today, but Preezy, he designed this one. This was his idea, whale in training. And then one of you also gave the idea of putting the Dogecoin in replacement for the water spout. And you can see right here, design inspired by subscriber Preezy2x. And then this one that just came up, this one was from Artful. As you can see here, design inspired by subscriber Artful. And this was his idea, having like my matte black Doge shirt that I made here with just the D, the Dogecoin D without the coin in the back to be more like stealthy. So I called it like the subtle Doge. And it comes in black or white. So, you know, it's fun. Obviously, I mean, I think they're reasonably priced considering how expensive the shirts are. And I cut the prices of shipping down like in half from what they were. So I'll pay half of that for y'all. So yeah, feel free to check that out. Buy something if you want. Right now, while I have more physical Doge coins, these dope things, I have a couple of them. So if you order and use the promo code FREECOIN, you will get one of those for free included. So, and like I said, shoot me your ideas. Could be on Twitter, Instagram, DM, Discord group. I don't care. If it goes up on the site, it'll say design inspired by your tag, however you want to be addressed. That's just, you know, a little shout out to y'all. My idea. Yeah, absolutely, Dr. J. Thanks for hanging out. Don't leave just as the market's moving. I know it does this every single time, but I'll be on Twitter if y'all want some updates in between, but I do have to do some other stuff now. So if anything crazy happens, though, I will be back on for another live stream. Will I be doing a live coverage on the SEC hearing on crypto? Absolutely, if I can. I do have to work on the 28th, but I mean, that's going to be the SEC hearing and the Doge Ethereum Bridge Conference. We'll have to see what times look like on both of those. The catalyst, look and see if it breaks above like the 33,000 level on Bitcoin. If it does, and gets up to like 33,800, pulls back and tests that support, that could be a buy. And then it's seeing what happens as we get closer to 35. I don't think it'll go above that, so that's probably where I'd look at the highest to look to get out, unless it's just rocketing for some reason. So, but I don't know if I don't think it really breaks above here. We'll see. We'll check on that tomorrow. Again, guys, thank you all for hanging out. Check out the store. Appreciate all your support and have a great evening. See you guys later. And Schmicky, I'm not quite sure. Got to look that up. All right. Bye, guys.